Good evening. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Board of Health is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by phone. Number is 1-224-501-3412, and access code of 645-782-357. The public can also join the meeting via computer at https://meet.goto.com/Auburn Conference Room 1. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this board are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, my name is Eric Otterson, Chairman of the Board of Health. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and anticipate on the agenda by participating remotely and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Town officials and employees participating, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Darlene Coyle.
Here.
Jordan Brusso.
Here.
Tim Pratt.
Here.
Roxana Kennedy.
Here.
Tanya Corbo.
Here.
Please note that each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. And please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. And are there any members participating remotely? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the meeting to order. All right, so first on our agenda this evening, we have a reorganization of the board. So with the new terms up.
Yes.
Yep.
So thank you very much. So with the new terms for this portion, we are going to take nominations from the board for the Board of Health Chair. Do I hear any nominations?
Eric Otterson.
Okay. So we have a nomination from Carolyn Griffin for Eric Otterson for Chair of the Board. Do I hear a second? Second. Kara has seconded it. And are there any other nominations? Hearing and seeing none, I will take a roll call vote. Carolyn Griffin.
Yes.
Kara Westerman.
Yes.
Eric Otterson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have a chair. And then for, can I hand it back over to you for
Yes.
vice chair?
Please. So entertain any motions for vice chair. I would entertain a motion for Kara Westerman.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye, and Kara Westerman. Very good. We have a chair and a vice chair. And now we're going to get into, thank you, 6 p.m. hearing for 15 Murray Ave. That is a dog hearing. Let me just pull up the script here. So I will entertain a motion to open a dog hearing for so this is for 15 Murray Ave.
So moved.
Is there a second? And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. The hearing is now open. The purpose of this hearing is for the board to hear evidence concerning 15 Murray Ave involving the dogs Milu and Luna regarding multiple complaints of the dogs being at large and excessive barking, and to make determination as to what action to take, if any, regarding the dogs involved. The board will hear from representatives from the town who were involved in investigating the matter. The board will also hear from residents of the town and other witnesses involved, if any. The board will also provide the dog owners the opportunity to testify if they so choose, and then the board will continue or close the hearing and make a decision on what should be done in the case and issue an order accordingly. Can I have the anyone who is providing testimony, witnesses and or owners of the dog, if you may, please stand. And you're the interpreter, ma'am? Excellent. So she can stand right up there. And is there anyone else providing testimony today regarding this dog hearing, or one of the witnesses? Okay. Ma'am, may you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. All right, and the town officials, Animal Control Officer Tanya, may you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So now we will go to the, actually, Miss Corbo, if you would mind.
We started out around August 2024 with barking complaints and loose dog complaints at 15 Murray Ave. The first time I was out visiting, I was able to briefly speak with Jenny through a camera that was on their house. Their dog was running around the neighborhood. She asked that I put the dog back into their backyard through a little gate. I did so. Following that was quite a few complaints coming in about the dogs out. I have people calling that they've almost hit the dogs. The dogs are lunging at neighbors and neighbors' dogs. It's just been a lot of incidents from August to June 23rd, 2025. We had another complaint about the dogs running down the street. Then July 28th, 2025, PD was called at approximately 10 p.m. for excessive barking coming from the house. Nobody was answering the door. Another time I went out to try to speak to the owners, and I believe it was their son that answered the door and said his parents were out of the country. I did give them letters from the town saying we need to speak with them. I didn't get any contact back. Then we did try to, tell them the dogs aren't licensed. Unfortunately, the dogs are running around the neighborhood. We don't know, because they're not licensed, we don't know if they're up to date in rabies vaccines. So it's been ongoing trying to get to work together. Unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. When we had the last hearing last month, the next day I got a phone call from one of the neighbors saying right after the meeting the dog was loose in the neighborhood again. I did get another email today from the same person with pictures that unfortunately did not print. The dog was loose this Monday again in his yard. The dog now is up to date with the licensing and vaccines as of the last meeting. So it's just been kind of ongoing of the dogs loose, constant barking, and we've been trying to work with them, but just haven't been able to really effectively communicate and come to a solution.
Okay. Thank you. Ma'am, this is now your time to provide any testimony based upon what you've heard from the animal control officers for the board to consider.
Yo sé quién es el que hace los complaints.
I really know who's making these complaints.
No sé por qué los hace, si es racismo que tiene contra nosotros, porque realmente él no vive ni al lado ni al frente, vive al diagonal, no sé cómo los escucha.
I don't really know why he's making these complaints. He doesn't even live like next to me or across the street from me. He lives diagonally from my house. I don't know if this is racism.
Ellos están en el garaje y él desde la ventana les empieza a hacer con la linterna.
¿Los perros están en el garaje?
Sí.
Sometimes my dogs are in the garage and he is lighting the dogs with a lamp on purpose.
Y en la madrugada llegan los fox, los lobos a ladrarles ahí al frente y mis perros le responden a los lobos 2, 3 de la mañana, entonces no tiene que ser solamente mis perros.
During the night, there's some foxes in front of my house and my dogs start barking. And also the foxes start barking. So it's not even my dogs who are making that noise.
So, yo ya puse las cercas del frente, pero mi vecino del otro lado, si quiere que los perros no se le pasen allá, yo ya le puse una cerca, pues que él mande a colocar una cerca completa.
I already put a fence in front of my house, but my next door neighbor, if he wants my dogs not to get into his property, he should put a fence too.
Y con respecto a lo que dice que han estado por fuera, lo que cuando yo hablé con la señora, yo llegué a la casa y la guardé porque mi hijo se le olvidó porque tenía que ir a estudiar. La perra que quedó por fuera, que ella dijo que ya llegó, y yo la estaba hablando por la cámara, yo llegué a la casa y la guardé porque a mi hijo se le olvidó porque se fue a estudiar.
And you did mention that the dog was wandering around when you went to the house. My son forgot to put the dog in, and that's why he was loose.
Entonces no sé qué quieren que haga con las perras, las regalo,
I don't know what's going to be the decision of the judge. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do with my dogs? Should I give them away? Should I put them on adoption? My kids need their dogs. So I don't know what to do.
Y además, la verdad, con mi vecino, siento que mis hijos no pueden salir, no pueden escuchar música, no dejó la policía porque salimos,
I think my neighbor is invading my privacy because we're not able to do nothing. We are not able to put music. We're not able to do nothing freely because everything bothers my neighbor.
Anything further?
¿Algo más que quiera decir?
No,
No.
que la decisión está en las manos de él.
The decision is in your hands.
Thank you very much for providing your testimony. We will certainly take that all into consideration. One of the things that I will mention is, as to your question on what exactly you should do or not knowing what to do, that is a question that could have been asked to the dog officer when they had come to your house at any one of those numerous occasions. Do you remember the dog officer coming to your house at all?
¿Usted recuerda que fue el oficial de perros, fue a su casa alguna vez?
Ella,
Yeah, she did.
Did you have a conversation with her at any time?
Usted tuvo una conversación con ella con su
yo le dije que disculpara porque se le olvidó tener las otras cosas a poder decir, así lo olvidó. Yo le pedí que disculpara porque no estaba.
I did apologize. My son forgot to put the dogs in, and they did pee, and I apologized to her, and I said this won't happen again.
But that was the last time. What about all the times previous to this?
Yes, I did see her like twice.
When she knocked on your door, did you think to come to talk to her and ask her questions as to why she could be there and what the complaint was and what could be done to remedy the situation at the time of the issue?
Por los perros, porque decían entrar a su pero gracias a mis perros no
Yes, I did know because her car said pest control, and I am trying to put my dogs back in the yard and to have them not to be wandering around.
y mi hija es la encargada de sacarlas.
And my daughter is in charge of walking the dogs.
But did you have a conversation with the dog officer when she presented herself to your property?
Pero usted sí tuvo una conversación con la oficial, o la persona de control animal,
Pues,
acerca de esto, de los
Pues
perros.
esa vez que yo llegué a la casa que estaban por fuera.
Yes, that time that I got home and the dog was wandering around.
Y mi hijo que dijo que habían ido por las perras, pero no sé qué más le contarían a mi hijo.
Yes, and my son was there, and I don't know what was the conversation with my son that time.
We have dates here going back to July 28th of 2025, almost a year ago. And I have testimony from the dog officer that she was at your house and that there was a fence gate broken, that she communicated with you through a security system. And then there was also times where it looked like folks were home, but no one came to the door. So why I'm pursuing this question, did you want to interpret?
Oh, she already heard.
Oh,
There's a-
okay. I'm sorry. Why I'm getting to this point is we're now at a dog hearing, and a lot of times when we come to these dog hearings, it's because of a non-responsive owner.
Yes, maybe we were not home when she went to our house, and the fence, you're talking about the fence, I put a front fence, and on the side of my neighbor's home, I put something, ¿qué fue sobre negro?
Sí, unas rejitas negras abajo.
Like a black fence,
Okay, no,
because we have pines there. So we put a small black fence on my neighbor's, next to our neighbor's home.
Are your dogs licensed currently with the town of Auburn?
Yes, they're up to date.
She licensed them June 1st of this year.
Yes, because I was out of,
tenía dinero para pagar pago la renta o pago lo necesario.
I didn't have a job, so I didn't have any money to license the dogs. So I either pay the rent or license the dogs.
Any other board members have questions?
Are you aware if your dog has bit anybody?
No.
Los perros eran
Yeah, they only hear noises, and it's like a warning, and y ladran, and they bark.
We have testimony from 2 people.
I think it's normal for dogs to bark.
Yes, we have testimony that was sent to us from 2 people who have said that they've been bitten by the dogs when they've been loose.
I don't know who they are.
Ms. Corbo?
So there is 4 different people complaining of the dogs. It's not just one person. I never got an official complaint. One fellow did reach out to me after the last meeting that we had, and he said he was in fact bit by the dog, and apparently that was one of the reasons why he did put up a fence in his yard, was to keep these dogs out. I said in the future going forward, he said it was a couple years back that the dog bit him, or a year or so ago. I said in the future, if you get bit, you need to report it to us. We do, and I explained the rabies protocol. And he said it's an ongoing issue. And then there's another neighbor saying that the dogs are now lunging at them, growling on their property. He's scared for his wife and his new puppy, mainly. There's not been a bite. He said they try to get his ankle, and he kind of kicks them away because he is scared to get bit.
As far as I know, they haven't bitten anybody. I know they kind of scare the person, but not bitten.
La verdad, no, que yo sepa, no.
Not that I know.
You have a home security camera?
Yes, the outside.
Is it pointing in the area of the garage? Do you have any footage that shows one of the alleged complainants flashing a flashlight in the direction of your dogs, making them bark?
Because the camera, it's like looking forward, and the neighbor lives like diagonal from my house.
Right, but does the camera face your garage? Does it monitor your garage area at all?
Yes, the front of my house and forward.
So it is able to see folks from the street looking at your garage?
Yes, of course.
So,
And the back also, it detects when they go by the house.
you had stated earlier that one of these alleged complainants, someone that you know who it is, was flashing a light in the direction of your garage, making your dogs bark.
Okay.
De la ventana del señor.
Yeah, well, they don't go by. From their home, he uses the lamp to light the dogs. That's when they start barking, because they see the light.
Okay. Board members have any other questions?
I think so.
Right. Is there any other, so no one had any other additional testimony or evidence to be presented? And I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved?
Is there a second? And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman, Eric Otterson, aye. All right. Hearing is now closed. The board will now deliberate. I'm sorry, close. The testimony is now closed. We'll now deliberate. Are there any,
Tanya, could I ask you to remind us again about when they're a nuisance dog, or what, what would be a little bit more of a foundation to keep the dogs enclosed, and how we determine?
So typically in this case, if you were asking my opinion on the nuisance versus dangerous dog, to me, it would be more of a nuisance, where we're having dogs constantly in the neighborhood, in people's yards, on their patios. The barking is pretty excessive. From what I was told by multiple neighbors, the dogs are kept in the garage, pretty much all the time. And that was another thing also in the report, was the feces and the urine going out into the road. So it would definitely be more of a nuisance for this one. Where I kind of question it, where I didn't get an official report about the bite, so that's not something that I do have on record. So that's just kind of what I would be leaning towards if you're looking for a suggestion on that aspect.
What would be the recommendations or the options of the board to move forward with this?
Sure, I did print out 3 separate ones if you'd like. Sorry. As my recommendation with all the complaints, the top one would be the licensing. Make sure every year the dogs are licensed, so we do know that they're up to date on shots. It would be fence repairs with hopefully a time deadline set by the Board of Health for the completion of that. Possibly dog training with a professional dog obedience trainer. For a period, I'd say, of 6 months, with progress reports coming back to the animal control officer, with a set time frame coming from the Board of Health. Electric collars, the e-collars, either for the barking and keeping them on the property. The officers as well has confirmed when they've had to go out that it was coming from the garage. Nobody was answering the door. So that hopefully would kind of mitigate some of the excessive barking. And that each dog would have an order made for both of them if this were to even come back in the future. Hopefully they won't be getting out. If one does bite, that would kind of bring us into the territory of nuisance dangerous, and just having them separate would be beneficial.
Can she say something? Can she say something?
Sure.
Yes, as you said, I can't put the dogs inside the house. I have to keep them in the garage because if I leave them in the house, they're gonna, make a mess. So I'm gonna have, they're gonna stay in the garage, and at night they stay in the garage too.
Pero, ¿y el resto del día ellas permanecen arriba o permanecen atrás en el deck?
Arriba in the deck.
Ajá.
And during the day, they stay at the deck.
Based upon the recommendations, do any board members have any?
I would recommend that this dog, Milo and Luna, be considered nuisance dogs.
So we'll have to take them both separately.
Okay.
So we'll do Milo first.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to declare Milo a nuisance dog.
Is there a second? And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otterson, aye. And now for the orders for such dog. So they're in compliance with licensing, we know that. Fence repair,
I would say fence repair needs to be completed. I know that she said money's an issue, so I'm gonna.
and I think and ma'am, what we're doing now is we're going to take into consideration your testimony. I know you had told us that money was an issue, so we're going to go through this list and see how we can best deal with the order in consideration of what you had in testimony. So I would entertain a motion that for Milo, the licensing compliance, which we're in compliance with, that's already been taken care of. Fence repair or replacement.
Yes.
Outdoor containment, which she seems to be in compliance with. Barking mitigation measures,
Yeah.
leash restrictions, and electronic training and containment collars. Is there, yeah, so just to review, I would entertain the motion for Milo, the fence repair or replacement, outdoor containment, barking mitigation measures, leash restrictions, and electronic training containment collars.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman, Eric Otterson, aye. Now moving on to Luna. Is there a motion for Luna?
Make a motion to also declare Luna a nuisance dog with the same conditions, which include fence repairs, outdoor containment, barking mitigation measures, leash restrictions, and electronic training and containment collars.
License.
And the license is up to date, and continue to keep the license up to date as required by the animal control officer.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otterson, aye. All right, so ma'am, the board has determined both dogs to be nuisance animals, and there are recommendations which we've set forth in consideration of the issues you had provided in prior testimony. We'll have you work with the animal control officer moving forward to make sure that those are being carried forth.
Can we get the documents translated
Yeah, and we'll get all of this translated into,
May I have timelines as well? For the fence repairs?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I would, what do you think is reasonable? Yeah, what do you think is reasonable, the circumstances?
30 days,
I think so.
60
I think
days,
that's
whatever you
Yeah,
see fit.
okay, all right.
in consideration
So-
of what she said.
To amend our finding for Milo, the fence repairs need to be completed within 30 days.
And is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin. Kara Westerman. Eric Otteson, aye.
And the same order amended for Luna, also the repair to the fence within 30 days.
All right. And is there, so moved, was it motion second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Karen Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otteson, aye. All right. Hearing is closed. So I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved?
And is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otteson, aye. So, ma'am, the hearing is closed, and you can work with the animal control officer on the next steps on how to mitigate this problem.
She has a question. Are those steps, can she work with her right now or when are they going to talk about?
At some point within the next 30 days, she will make, at a time where you're available. But remember, if you are home, or another responsible adult to be home, then please answer the door and speak with her. Okay? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a dog hearing at 6:10 for 12 Pine Valley Road. I will entertain a motion to open the dog hearing.
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Eric Otteson, aye. Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Sorry, took it out of order. The purpose of this hearing is for the board to hear evidence concerning 12 Pine Valley Drive involving the dog Tuxedo getting loose from his house and attacking Tiger, and to make a determination as to what action to take, if any, regarding the dog or dogs involved. The board will hear from the representatives of the town who will be involved in investigating the matter. The board will hear from residents of the town and any other witnesses involved, if any. The board will provide the dog owner the opportunity to testify if they so choose. The board will then continue or close the hearing and make a decision as to what should be done in the case and will issue an order accordingly. The witnesses for this hearing, are any of you present in the audience today? Could you raise your hand, please? Okay. So I see you all in front. Can you all please raise your right hand? And do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. And the investigating town official will be Tanya Corbo, the animal control officer. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And the complainants, they may be, the complainants part of that initial group that I had? Yes, okay, so you've already been sworn in. Okay. Yes,
Sorry, I just want to make sure. Did we open here?
yes.
Oh.
We opened the hearing, correct, today?
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I know we went through this, I just want to
Yep.
make sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Corbo.
On 6/10, I got a rabies or possible rabies vaccine notice from Veg in Shrewsbury. I was notified that a dog broke out of a door of his front house, ran into the road, and attacked another dog. These dogs were Tuxedo. He is the one that broke through the door, and he attacked Tiger. Tiger and his owner were walking down the road. Tiger was on leash. Tuxedo broke through the front door and attacked him multiple times with bites. In the packet that you guys got were pictures of the wounds. And those, do you have those?
Those were part of this packet. that
Oh, were
we
they? Oh, I'm so sorry, Tanya, yes.
Okay. So I did speak with the owner of Tiger. Obviously, she brought him right to veg. They did everything they could. He had 2 separate visits from there. I spoke with the vet that was working on him, and due to the injuries, they had to euthanize Tiger. This was not one bite. This was multiple bites, as you can tell. I did speak to the owner of Tuxedo, and she did notify us that this has never happened. First time, dog has been around people, dog goes to dog parks. But unfortunately, in cases like this, it's not one single bite. It's a little concerning for us. We did this morning get an email from the owner, and she asked for this to be also kind of sent into you guys. People did write letters on behalf of Tuxedo, stating he's a good dog. So that's just, I did just get them this morning, so I apologize, they're not in the packets. And there's also a question as to when I got the initial report, Tiger was walking with his owner down the street on leash. And then this morning when I spoke to the owner of Tuxedo, she said that was incorrect. So she also included a picture showing dogs are not there, but where she thinks it did take place. So that's also in question.
Repeat that last part, I'm sorry.
So on the picture that was sent in today, the owner of Tuxedo is saying that the attack did not happen in the street where it got reported, that the attack happened in this area that's right on the sidewalk, her property line. So that's kind of also in dispute right now. Again, this just came in this morning, so I apologize. It was not in your packet. If you want, I do have a copy of those.
So this is alleging where the bite had taken place. Was
Correct.
this red circle.
Correct. In my opinion, it's, even if it was on the road versus sidewalk / yard, the alarming thing for me is the multiple bites and the wounds for this. It was not just a one and done.
Right. So hearing that the town's presentation of this incident in the complaint, the dog owner, do you have, oh, I'm sorry, the complainant. So the complainant's present? Yes. May you approach the podium, please? Okay. And you are, I'm sorry, your name?
My name is Jean Brewer. I live at 14 Deerfield Circle, which is, in essence, a direct extension of Pine Valley. You come down Deerfield Circle, you cross Potter Farm Road, and Pine Valley continues.
Thank you. Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. The morning of Wednesday, June 10th, I was walking my 70-pound greyhound Tiger. I'd had him 7 months. He is my third greyhound. And we've always walked the entire Potter Farm development without an issue. More recently, prior to June 10th, we would come down Pine Valley, but not yet hit the cul-de-sac part, the circle. And Tuxedo would be barking at us from across the cul-de-sac on the other side at his house. So we would just turn around and go back up Pine Valley and not go down there. This particular morning, as we walked down, I looked out and I did not see Tuxedo outside the house. I saw Mrs. Jolly on her front porch with a parcel. So Tiger and I crossed the kind of like the common area where the gazebo and the grass and all the bushes are in the middle of a cul-de-sac. And I said, Betty, can I help you with that? And we proceeded from that grassy area into the street, the cul-de-sac. And that's when Tuxedo came rushing out of the house. I would say that Betty and I both were in absolute shock. Tiger, my greyhound, had a leash, had his collar and his license on his collar. And when Tuxedo hit him, he did, to the dog officer's point, I said we were walking down the street. He hit him and knocked him onto the grassy area between the street and the sidewalk. And then after the sidewalk starts Mrs. Jolly's property. So yes, technically we were not in the street, we were on that little grassy strip. He knocked Tiger over onto his back and just proceeded to bite him very aggressively. And Tiger was screeching. I reached down and I grabbed Tiger's collar and I tried to drag him backwards away from it. And I tried to grab Tuxedo's collar and pull him this way away from Tiger, and I couldn't. And thank God Sophia was home. She came out, got Tuxedo, and took him back in the house. I took him immediately up to the veterinarian emergency group on Route 9, and they worked on him for about 6 hours. I sent pictures to the dog officer. He had significant injuries to his neck, his legs, where Tuxedo bit him both top and bottom when he bit, his left flank and his butt, and his groin area. They had to put drains in his neck and in 2 places in his groin area to help the wound heal or the infection drain or something. They said bring him back on Friday, the 12th, so we can take the drains out. And in the meantime, he was home. He was listless. He had no energy. He wouldn't eat. He was bleeding still. He was urinating on his bed because it was hard to get up. So when I took him back, they said, we can't take the drains out. So I said, will it help if you keep him for the day? And intravenous might work faster. And they said yes. So I called them back at 6 o'clock, and the veterinarian said, the doctor said, Tiger is not responding. He is still laying down. He is whining, crying. We have increased the strength of his pain meds. We have increased his antibiotics. He just is not turning the corner. I want to keep him overnight. So I said, okay. So I called them Saturday morning, and they said they were concerned that sepsis was setting in. And so they contacted a surgeon at Tufts to confirm and maybe take their assessment a step further. And the gentleman, the surgeon from Tufts, said, yes, I will come in for $6,000 cash before I look at the dog. So I was a little disrespectful and said, thank you, but I don't want the surgeon. So I went in to the veterinarian emergency group, spoke to the doctor, and said, if he is not responding, how long do you think it will take him to recover? And she said, the wounds are deep. We're afraid they've punctured the abdomen. It's going to take him months to recover from these wounds. So, as a responsible dog owner, I can't just see my dog suffer. If I brought him home, all I could do was stuff a pill in his mouth every 8 hours, you know? So I talked to the doctor and we agreed to euthanize him. The following week, I went down to Mrs. Jolly's house, and I will say that they have been extremely gracious. I have got to know Christine a little bit more, the dog's mom. She's a lovely, lovely young woman. They have come forth and paid all of the vet bills, which approach $6,000. Sophia, I am grateful for that she was there to bring Tuxedo in the house that day. The attack was completely unprovoked. I don't know what made him come out of the house. We were not talking or singing or jumping around or making actions or, you know, anything to rile a dog up. He has barked at us, like I said earlier, from across the cul-de-sac. And other neighbors have seen that, and they said, Jesus, Gene, you're not even off Pine Valley yet, and he's barking at you from across the cul-de-sac. I'm afraid to go down there. They do have him on a kind of a cable tied to the front porch. However, that's a strong dog. And I'm afraid that little wooden baluster that's holding his cable is going to break. And I'm afraid to go down there. Other neighbors of mine have said that he has barked at them, and they said they would be here tonight, but they are not, and I'm disappointed. I very much want to get another dog, and I've pretty much decided that if I walk it, it will be somewhere else, because I don't want to walk around Potter Farm anymore. And I feel very guilty that I couldn't protect the dog that I rescued. And I couldn't make him feel better. And in talking with Christine, you know, our talks were cordial. They were civil. And I feel terrible that it happened. At a minimum, I think the dog needs to be removed from the residence because a dog of that size and that aggressiveness, although it has not been demonstrated before, he does not belong in an over 55 community. I'm almost 72 years old, and if I'm afraid to walk in my neighborhood, that's not right. There are grandchildren around. There are other dogs, small dogs around. So with that, I think that's it. The neighbors that said they would come and have not have said that the dog does not wear a muzzle when it's outside, which was what the dog officer recommended. I don't know if that meant just during the quarantine period or going forward. He is on a leash going forward, but they said there is no muzzle. People have said they come out of their house, they look around, okay, fine, I'll bring my dog out now. I don't think we should have to live like that. I'm a dog lover, and I don't want to hurt Christine or Betty or Sophia, but it happened. And you've got pictures. So that's it.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The testimony from the dog owners. May you, Bubin, come on up. And just state your name, ma'am.
Christine Apple.
Okay.
I am tuxedo. I have had
Could you just come? thank you.
Tuxedo for 3 years. And I will say he does bark when there are people that pass in front of the house when he sees a dog. However, and I don't want, this is no way, shape, or form to take anything away from this horrible incident because it was tragic, but I've taken full responsibility for what happened. The dog has never had an incident in the 3 years that I've owned him, and as far as people, we have people in and out of our house all the time. My mom has a book club that comes over with people in the neighborhood, and Tux sits under the table waiting for scraps. They sent you letters saying that they never once felt fear. My neighbor that lives right next door to me has never felt any fear. I'm asking, when I found out what happened, I immediately checked, and I do want to correct, the door was not broken. What happened was the latch was a little loose. So when he barked at the door opened, and he came out. The day that I found out this happened, I immediately fixed that lock. I put a gate across the front porch so that even if he got through the door, I don't know if you can see this, or can I?
If you want to bring it up, we can take a peek, sure.
That gate goes right across, so even if he got through the door, there's a gate.
What kind of dog is he again?
He is a lab boxer cross.
Okay.
And I should have this is fenced in,
Yeah, I will.
which is in the back. This is him playing with
I'll just-
the dog that runs loose in the neighborhood. And as far as the elderly people in the neighborhood, this is a picture of him with the book club ladies. My elderly father, who has since passed, this was his companion. And Tuxedo has been to the dog park a bunch of times, which I have pictures,
I think, yeah, that's
along
what,
with the pictures of the cats. Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I just have you to go back to the, yeah, and I guess we'll just, I guess the director would like copies of these, if that is okay with you? Sure, okay. Okay.
But what I want to say is that I did take responsibility. I feel horrible about this loss. There's nothing, I can't imagine the heartbreak that Jean has gone through. I was horrified to hear this happened. We had never experienced a single thing. And as soon as I found out something happened, I fixed it immediately so that he can't get out. As far as the muzzle, I was never told I had to muzzle my dog. That was never explained to me. He has always been up to date on all vaccinations. He's licensed. He goes to the rest home with my boyfriend to visit some of the people that have Alzheimer's. So he's not, this one incident does not define him. And the reason why I'm fighting so hard is he means the world to me, my daughter, my mom, and my dad that passed. He
he was his companion. Yes, he does bark at people going by. He barks at people halfway down the street. He has never been loose. He has never been unsupervised. He's always in the backyard. It was a tragic accident that the door has since, like I said, I put these things in place so that this could never, ever happen again. So I just ask that you take that into consideration, and the fact that he has been in a 55 and older community for over 3 years with 0 complaints, 0 reports, and neighbors that come over to give him biscuits. And this is my daughter.
Hello.
Hi.
I guess I can just speak on the day of the incident since I grabbed my dog away. So just to kind of clarify, make it a little more, make more sense, our door, we have like a screen door and then the front door. So the front door was kind of open. It was a screen door that was closed and the screen door that had the issue with the latch. I was in my room, which is on the first floor of my house, so I can hear like the door open and close. So I knew my grandmother was going to the laundromat, I believe. So she left the house. Tux likes to watch her walk out, or anyone. He just likes to sit there and watch. So I wasn't thinking anything of it. The door to my room was open, so I could hear pretty much everything. I heard the screen door open, and then just like some type of, I don't know, I heard the door open and then something. So I ran out, and then I since grabbed his collar and then pulled him back into the house. Then I brought him in the house. I closed both doors tightly, and I guess that's all I can say on the day. That's what I did, yeah. I'd say Tux, other than this horrible incident, is a good dog. He's a loud dog, I'll say. He does bark, but never, besides this one-off incident, would I say it was malicious in any way. He's just very expressive. I don't really know how to describe it, but he does make a lot of noise. But very rarely is it ever, or if ever, with like a malicious or negative intent, I would say.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
See, in hearing the town's testimony and both of your testimony as well, first I want to say that if there's ever an example of how 2 dog owners should, conduct themselves during a horrible incident, this would be an example. I apologize deeply for this incident having to happen. I apologize to the poor euthanization and death of your dog, and ma'am, I'm sorry that your dog had to be involved in this as well. We've been doing dog hearings for some time now, and I don't think I've ever seen a dog hearing like this where 2 owners have come together and acted so professionally. So I want to applaud you and also just thank you for taking this seriously, and also, just seems like being good people. So I want to thank you both very much for that. And any comments before we go into the?
No, I think you said that perfectly. We both
I
agree.
echo your comments. It's a tragic situation, and the togetherness through this is it's emotional. It's emotional for all of us sitting here, hearing it. So I can't imagine your loss and your part in it. But thank you for your cooperation.
Ms. Corbo, do you have any recommendations for the board?
I do. Before I start with the recommendations, and I do hear both sides. I'm not saying that, he's a bad dog, or, that's the hard part here. I see the pictures. He's adorable. My concern as the animal control officer and animal inspector is going forward, where this has happened once already. I know we frequent the dog park, which honestly, it makes me a little worried after seeing this. My recommendations would be that he is kept up to date with the licensing. Unfortunately, he was not licensed when this did happen. So that was a little difficult figuring out if we were up to date on shots or not. I do have the recommendations again printed out if you would like to see those. Some sort of secure confinement in the front of the house. I do see the picture of the gate. It's not going to hold him back. So we have to think of something other than that gate, whether it's going to be, he's got to be on a leash, or I don't know if there's a bigger fence out there, if it's a fenced-in yard. But there will have to be some kind of additional containment measures. When he's off the property, I do recommend that he is on a leash. He is under control by a competent adult over the age of 18 years old, and that he has a properly fitted muzzle at all times while he's off the property of 12 Pine Valley Drive. The other suggestions were owner education, possibly a behavioral evaluation by a professional. I'm not sure if he's microchipped or not, but I do recommend that he is to be microchipped as well. And then, always at the very end, which is not, a current recommendation that I am making in this case, but the option is there for euthanization.
And in looking at these, I know, ma'am, you had mentioned that you wanted the dog to be at a minimum removed from the home. I will say that we've never done that in years, okay? We certainly are not, I don't believe we're at that point yet with this being, with the history that is provided for that. But based upon the evidence that was presented by the town, the complainant, and then also hearing the dog owner's testimony, is there a motion on Tuxedo being voted as a dangerous dog?
I'll make a motion to deem Tuxedo a dangerous dog.
Is there a second? I will second that. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otteson, aye. So Tuxedo has been determined a dangerous animal. Now we'll just go through what, based upon the dog officer's recommendations, what would be most appropriate. So I think in reviewing these, in hearing what she had said, I do have one question as far as the properly fitted muzzle at all times when off the property at 12 Pine Valley Drive. The dog does frequent retirement homes, you were saying?
He did
In the past. When was is this a regularly scheduled thing?
It was my boyfriend. It's a home health aide,
Okay.
and which unfortunately, person that they visited just since passed away.
Okay.
I do not take the dog pretty much anywhere. And he is microchipped. He's completely up to date on vaccinations. Proven all the way back. He's never not been vaccinated.
Thank you.
Take that seriously, and I honestly think he asked me about this, about my dog was a danger to me.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have any issues hearing that? She already said that, so, okay. Based upon, oh, yes. Just actually, could you just come up to the microphone? Just a larger room here, sorry.
Just one point I failed to make, and when Christine mentioned it, it jogged my old brain. The time that I had Tiger, I am a Eucharistic minister for my church, St. Joseph's in Charlton. And as such, I visit the nursing home and a lot of people in individual houses that cannot get out. I bring communion to them. And Tiger was always by my side. So like Tuxedo, he was in an environment with a lot of people and we never had a problem with him. But I just wanted to, greyhounds are docile. They don't have a fight instinct. They have a sleep instinct. So that was all.
Thank you. So hearing that in regards to Tiger being deemed as a dangerous dog, I would entertain a motion. Sir, you weren't, unfortunately, you weren't sworn in at the beginning of the hearing.
Yeah.
That's registering, unfortunately, unfortunate. What is your name and what? Okay, go over there. I just have a couple questions for you before we decide. So the hearings are scheduled, and we do put everyone under oath initially, because we've been hearing testimony from everybody now, and then we're at the end, and now this is kind of a.
Well, it's my understanding that you were maybe going to ask for people to speak in support of either side, and that never happened. So I'd like to take this opportunity to address the board. And
we do ask for those who want to provide testimony at the beginning of the hearing, and we didn't see you. But given that you are here, as long as any board members don't have any objection, we will allow you to speak. But yes.
If I may, I think you might want to reopen the hearing, just to make sure that.
The hearing wasn't closed yet, was it?
The testimony portion.
The testimony. Are you providing testimony, or are you?
I would just like to speak about the situation and the dogs involved.
Okay, so I guess we'll consider that testimony. So we're going to have to reopen the testimony portion of the hearing. Is there would I entertain a motion to reopen the testimony portion of this hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second? And Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman, Eric Otteson, aye. Sir, proceed with your testimony.
All right. My name is Walter Stewart. I live at 39 Potter Farm Road here in Auburn. I have seen Gene in the past walk her dog, and that dog is always on a leash and is very docile. I have also seen Tuxedo walked in the neighborhood, and again, always on a leash and under control. But Tuxedo is a bigger dog, and I am concerned that if whatever caused him to go off this time were to happen again, that she would not be able to control that dog. I've had big dogs before, and I know when they get inspired, they take off, and they are nothing but muscle. I have a dog presently, a 25-pound dog. I walk the dog completely throughout Potter Farm Road at least once a day. I do not take my dog down Pine Valley anymore. I just don't want that happening again. So my position here is that if the dog is going to remain in the neighborhood, that it should be muzzled every time it's on a walk, not just if it's going to the nursing home or wherever. If the dog's on a walk in the neighborhood, and it has been, then I would like to support the fact that it be muzzled during those walks.
Anything further? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for allowing me.
Make a motion to close the testimony portion of the hearing. All those I entertain a motion to close the testimony portion of the hearing.
So moved.
And is there a second? Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otteson, aye. All right. So seeing and hearing now all testimony, I would entertain a motion with the following recommendations based upon the animal control officer. A secure confinement area with a locking gates, potentially with fencing. Have the dog would be leashed and under control of an adult over 18 years old and properly fitted with a muzzle at all times when off property at 12 Pine Valley Drive. He's already microchip identified. The dog remain in compliance with local bylaws and be licensed.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman, Eric Otterson, aye. All right. I would make a motion now to close the hearing. And is there a second?
So, yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman, Eric Otterson, aye. All right. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, we'll have you work with the dog officer with the minutes and all, okay? Thank you. Next is the renovation for a grease tank request for Dunkin' Store 386 on Southbridge Street. We have representatives here from Dunkin' Store. Okay, I would entertain a motion to open the hearing for the Dunkin' Store located at 104, no, sorry, 386 Southbridge Street.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Kara Westerman,
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. The hearing is now open. So this is a hearing in regards to revised kitchen plan and a plan review, which had come before the board in regards to a grease trap issue or recommendation. The Ms. Brusso, you have?
Yes, so what I can do is kind of give you a time frame of how this came to the board, just going through what prompted this request. So a little over a month ago, the board, the health department received a call from the Dunkin's property management team where they were requesting a renovation project and inquiring about what the health requirements would be to ensure that the renovation project was done up to the health code standards. I provided them guidance on a plan review application and what would be needed to complete that application. This property management team was very motivated. They got it back to us the very next day for where I was able to give them some initial feedback, kind of informally, where there was questions on what their internal and external grease traps are in typical plan reviews, where there's a new business restaurant going into an establishment, or if there's a change of ownership, or if there's a renovation. We typically ask that the establishment provide inspectional reports or letters verifying that equipment is in good repair and working order. Our concern specifically was for internal and external grease traps. They were able to provide me a service report from Patriot Services indicating that their internal grease trap was recently looked at and serviced and in good repair. The direct quote from this report said, "The interior grease trap at this location is operating properly and currently in good condition." So it was then identified that there was no external grease trap at the property. The health department provided our local Board of Health regulations identifying whenever there is a change of ownership, a new establishment opening, or a renovation of a kitchen area, it would be prompted to bring that establishment into current code. This would require an external grease trap. I then offered a walkthrough to go through the existing establishment and go over what their proposed changes are for the renovation. One of their my initial, again, informal comments was it looked like they were moving around some of the locations of sinks, and there was a removal of a hand sink. They immediately revised their site plans and put that hand sink back on the plan, so that is still in good standing with our standards for hand sinks. During this walkthrough, I believe it was June 16th, I walked behind, there's a 3-bay sink in the back area, prep area, and there's a storage closet. You can walk through that storage closet into a basement crawl space area where their internal grease trap is located, for which we were able to see that the internal grease trap was leaking, and it had seen better days. So I did identify that as a concern, given the most recent service report from Patriot Services. Verbally, the property management team was very agreeable and stated that they would be replacing the internal grease trap. No questions asked. That was certainly something that they saw the need and immediately made the determination on site. I do have a picture that I took on that date in your packets. Since then, I have consulted with the sewer superintendent and assistant DPW director, Pete Boria, who asked for some additional information. I just received it on Monday. Unfortunately, the sewer superintendent is not in the office right now, so he wasn't able to take a look at it before this meeting. He wanted a site plan identifying the sewer lines leaving that property and going to the sewer main in the street on Southbridge Street. And he also wanted Board of Health and Sewer wanted to coordinate a site visit to flip the nearest manhole to inspect the what they call a sewer lateral, where the sewer main leaves the building to the sewer main, to see if there's any grease, fats, and oils maybe accumulating in that connection portion. So that is still pending. We have not done that site visit yet, since there's been some time off in various offices. I did also speak to the plumbing inspector. He did advise part of the upgrade to the internal grease trap that is needing to be repaired or replaced. The question was, could they replumb the plumbing fixtures to go through the internal interceptor? And would that be a sufficient alternative to requiring the external grease trap? They provided us a proposed plan of that revised plumbing. The plumbing inspector did confirm that that is allowed per the plumbing code. However, he did provide some updates to the plumbing code and stated that it is my opinion that this application should definitely require an external grease trap per the plumbing inspector. I have a copy of this email available for your review as well. So those are that's a summary of the situation. I know Duncan's has expressed they're very eager to start this renovation progress. This was a hurdle for them, and they did delay their initial anticipated start date to make sure that they were in compliance, and they submitted their variance or waiver request during my site visit on June 16th, 17th.
What is the benefit of an internal versus external grease trap?
So typically an internal grease trap is standard internal grease traps would be connected only to warewashing basins, like a 3-bay sink. It's not common, but sometimes through a dishwasher. So that doesn't include floor drains, prep sinks, mop sinks, hand sinks, or anything else in that kitchen that might be plumbed going through to the sewer line main. An external grease trap does encompass all plumbing involved in the kitchen food service areas, and is something that is in the ground, typically in the parking lot, outside and buried in the ground. So it is a subsurface tank. It's usually a 15 to maybe 2,000 gallon tank, so it is much larger and can accommodate larger volumes of fats, oils, and greases or fogs that may go into the sewer lines to help eliminate them from the sewer main. Internal grease traps may need more frequent servicing and are often, again, much smaller compared to the external grease trap, which is often thousands of gallons, or at least.
And sir, your name?
Good evening. I'm George Delegas. I'm an architect, and I'm also a kitchen designer. And I work in house for the owner of the restaurant. I did meet with Jordan, as you mentioned. We checked out the back rooms and so on. We had a long conversation regarding the existing grease trap, which is not in good condition. Apparently, the service company we use claimed that it's in good condition. It's not true. So that's correct, which is why we're proposing replacing it and making some other improvements as well. I brought a drawing here, which is the plumbing drawing that Jordan has electronically. I don't think you're going to be able to see it if I put it up, but I have copies of it.
I believe we have, is it the same copies that we received in our packet?
Are these the ones that you sent in to me on Monday?
Back the one that I sent you.
On Monday?
Monday, correct.
No, those are not in your packet. This is the plan, the renovation plan, site plan.
So what, if you can, I mean, I'm no expert in plans, unless anyone else would want to see them. But just what are you exactly, just summarize what exactly you're doing to the property.
Yes, thank you. Let me kind of start, go back a little bit in terms of the building itself was initially designed as a Burger King. When the current owner purchased it about 20 years ago, it's been remodeled or renovated twice. The store is very big, nothing that, we really don't need anything that size. We typically need something less than half the size. So it happens to be a big store, but a lot of the space is not really useful. I'm just trying to make the point that it's a big building, but it's really, it's the Dunkin' Donuts that performance in the way that others do. The reason for the renovation is because every 10 years, Dunkin' requires us to renovate them because they want new finishes. In this case, they have a new layout for the service area, so it's a requirement. It's not something that we need to typically do. The equipment, most of it is the same. The front line does have a bakery case, which is the new concept versus the donuts in the back. It's in front. And it also has an 8-tap system, which is a chilled coffee. Other than that, it's all the same. It's Dunkin' Donuts coffee and bakery goods. Nothing is really different. The point that I'm trying to make here is that nothing will change after we renovate the store in terms of having additional customers. It's just not going to happen. Again, we have to make this renovation, and that's what we're doing. Dunkin' Donuts basically heats food, does not cook food. We do have coffee, and we use cream, and that's a concern. Cream has fat. So and right now, the only thing that is connected to the grease trap is a 3-bay sink. That's it. So everything else goes down the drain. We have floor sinks which take the coffee and they take the cream as well and dumps it into the sewer. It doesn't go into the grease trap. That's how it is currently. So, and as I take over the stores and we're renovating, then I discover all kinds of things I had no idea about, and that's what we discovered. And obviously, after our meeting with Jordan as well, the logic thing to do would be not only to replace the existing grease trap inside, and put a 3-bay sink on it, but include the floor drains, floor sinks, and also a new item we added, which is a rinse sink, which everything gets dumped into. That will go directly to the grease trap. So therefore, what we have currently will be substantially improved. Nothing's going to go out to the sewer. So the point I'm making is that by making that change, we feel that it would be more than adequate in taking care of the grease that is produced. We do have a regular service, so it will continue to be a service regularly. Brand new grease tank, which is, grease trap is what we're suggesting. And again, considering the kind of restaurant we are, and the fact that we don't have a grill, we don't produce grease. The primary thing is really the dairy, that grease or that would be it needs to be taken care of, which is currently not. I guess, Jordan, the sewer department hasn't yet inspected the sewer connections, but certainly. I'm not sure what they will find, but certainly the condition will be improved substantially, because we're not going to be dumping directly, because as you said, the cream goes directly to the sewer line. You will no longer do that. So we are proposing making all these upgrades for the interior grease trap, and asking that you waive the requirement of putting in a grease tank outside.
Do you have an estimated cost on the
cost? We are estimating 15 to 20,000 to do that. It's a major, and it's a major change. We have to dig a hole, put it in. It'll shut down the drive-through. It's costly, obviously, but it's not a small expense. The owner who I work for has about 120 stores, and I've worked on all of them. I've been with the company 12 years. Actually, one of the things I forgot to mention, our construction manager, Angela Simon, is also here. But anyway, and I know there's new regulations. I have not encountered any city of town requiring on an existing Dunkin' Donuts putting in a grease tank. So this is highly unusual. In my experience, I worked in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont. It's just not something that is commonly asked for on an existing restaurant. And in this case, being a Dunkin' Donuts, which doesn't really produce much grease.
How big is the grease trap that is there now that you've agreed that is faulty?
I'm not sure, probably 40, 50 pounds, I'm not sure. And actually, the submittal that I have from the plumbing engineer, I looked it up to see what the capacity is. It talks about the weight of being about 900 pounds, but it's not telling me what the capacity is. But we can, apparently they make it 40, 50, 100, and we can put in whatever the board, would like us to do. So we have no issue with the size of it. But again, it is, I have it actually here in the handout. But I'm not sure and the model number is there as well. I'm not sure what size it is, but we're amenable to putting in a larger size and whatever is needed.
Now, this grease, just so I have this correct, this grease trap is only off of a 3-bay sink?
Right now, it's only a 3-bay sink. That's where we discovered, and correct. That's all that is connected to.
You're proposing now that you're going to replumb everything as part of this into a larger internal grease.
Correct. And what we need to do is cut open the floors, because that's where the floor sinks, floor drains are. So it's a big expense, a big project, but it is important. Yeah, we definitely don't want to be dumping grease down the drain. We inherited this building. I'm surprised 10 years ago when it was renovated, and 20 years before then, that, I guess there was no requirement. I guess it wasn't necessary. Even for the Burger King, they were cooking. I'm surprised they were not required to put in a tank on such a large building as well. But anyway, here we are, and we're just requesting that you waive the requirement, and we'll make whatever adjustments inside the building you would like us to make.
All right. Well, thank you. Actually, I do have one further question. These renovations that you're doing, is it like aesthetic renovations, or are you expanding? Are you putting in more stuff to expand?
No, as a matter of fact,
expand a food service facility?
The service line is exactly the same. We're not changing the size, the shape. As a matter of fact, we're shrinking it because we just don't need it. And there's there's several storage spaces that they're just sitting there. It's just extra space. We're not expanding. We don't need to expand. We're shrinking it actually because the whole building is way too big. We even considered tearing it down and building a new one actually. Because it's just not very useful to us in terms of the size that it is, and then the equipment we're not adding anything new. But like I said, the concept has changed where the coffee is in the back as opposed to the front, and the bakery cases is in front. So and I don't know whether you've seen any of the new Dunkins. That's a new concept.
And just to make sure I understood, you said that nothing's really being cooked there. No, the donuts are delivered all cooked and stuff.
Yeah, we don't. We just heat. I mean, everything is heated. So any pans that we may have, I mean, donuts have frosting, but it's not really. Those are washed in a 3-bay sink, and that's about it. We really don't have cooking pots and pans. And then and obviously all of the utensils, that the public uses, they're all plastic paper, so there's nothing. We're not washing anything else.
Okay. All right. Any board members have any questions at all? No? So I guess when I review the matter here, and you've had the business, it's clear this hasn't changed owners at all. Doesn't sound like you're expanding the size of the building or expanding, they're actually downsizing for what you
No,
just
we're thinking about tearing down some of it, even cutting it down, but that's not really practical to reduce the size. It's really too big. Yeah.
Now, the size, so the one that's there is inadequate and it looks small based on my non-professional assessment of grease traps. It looks small for that type of building. The one that you're putting in is much bigger, you were saying?
Which, the grease trap, usually we use, I think, a 50-gallon, most of our stores, from what I recall. And typically when we renovate them, we find they're too old or something's wrong with them, and we replace them. Just on the spot. We don't really explore them until we have the plumber. And so it's standard procedure, and we would have done the same. With existing one, we wouldn't have connected the other plumbing fixtures to it, but we plan to, and we will. As far as the ownership, I think one of the issues came up. The owner of the store is still the same. The operator is still the same. This is a big company, and actually the store still pays rent. It pays to a different owner. Now how these entities work, I'm not sure, but nothing has changed. There's no new owner for the store. And they're paying rent, I think, to another entity, to another LLC. I'm not sure how that worked. But there was a purchase of the property, which includes the retail building in the back. So the whole property was purchased about 3-4 years ago, I think.
Okay. Ms. Broussard?
Thank you. I just want to make a couple of clarifications. Dunkin' Donuts has been at this location for several years, and this renovation is what is prompting this requirement for our local external grease trap requirement. I do want to specify they do have a menu that has grown extensively. They have modified things where 15, 20 years ago, Dunkin's was baking their bagels at each store. They were making their donuts in store. They have consolidated that, so a lot of it is coming in. They're not making their bacon from raw bacon, but they do still have a substantial menu where there is a lot of animal byproduct and as he mentioned, the dairy for creamers of all kind do have a substantial amount of grease. As you can see in the picture, there is a pretty large hue of grease around the internal grease trap. Another important consideration to note, the internal grease traps are, it's not my code, it is the plumbing code. There is a sizing requirement based on what is connected to it. So for this case, it's existing, I don't know, but let's just assume the internal grease trap that was installed so many years ago, it was sized appropriately to the three-bay sink that is existing. So they scale the size of those basins to determine what size the internal grease trap is. That's something that a plumber would need to verify. In the email that the plumbing inspector emailed, he references the section of the plumbing code. The plumbing inspector would need to review the plans that you sent on Monday to verify the size of the internal grease trap that is that would be necessary to add all the extra plumbing fixtures that would need to then be rerouted to this internal grease trap. I'm not too well versed on sizing and the plumbing code, so that would be something I'd need to rely on the plumbing inspector for. And again, the plumbing inspector is strongly in favor of the external grease trap. The sewer superintendent is also in favor to it. In our eyes, this is an improvement for everyone involved, for the town sewer, for the establishment, for the property, and for the health of the public as well.
I was just going to make a comment because it's a little concerning that, that yes, you have internal grease trap, but obviously it wasn't really taken care of. And that's a concern for me. Yeah.
I spoke with the plumbing inspector to correct myself, and he doesn't have these drawings yet because I wanted you to see them, and ask them questions such as what should be on the grease trap. And I said, hand sinks? He said, no. For example, I just wanted to make sure that we were covering everything. Obviously not the toilet, and so on, but I wanted to confirm, for example, that the hand sinks did not need to be connected to the tank.
Okay.
So just so Ms. Brusso, are they expanding a food service facility?
They wouldn't be expanding, they're not adding any square footage to the establishment, but they are reconfiguring the existing. They're not making it smaller, and there does show sign of grease leaking into their own plumbing due to the internal grease traps condition. And there is a significant reconfiguring of what is existing to the equipment that they have and the layout of their existing.
And other things are going to be added now to that grease trap that wasn't formally added, the cream and such, sounds like, and.
Yes, so that would.
Address that to you probably, yeah.
There is substantial, it's new equipment, newer equipment that they might be trading out or upgrading for dairy dispensers, coffee makers, other forms of hot warmers and prep areas and.
So in addition to the cream, there are foods that have that grease that would.
That is correct. They do have, they're not necessarily, like a big example would be bacon. They're not cooking their bacon from a raw state where it does produce a significant amount of when it's hot, liquid oil, grease, lard. They're receiving their bacon pre-cooked, refrigerated, and then they're reheating it. So there is still significant grease. It's just much less. But believe it or not, the creamers do make a substantial impact on.
Along with whatever comes off of the bacon.
And other animal byproducts such as the cream cheese, the cheeses, the other animal products that they have.
Make a comment regarding the bacon. It's pre-cooked. You're correct. Apparently, they put it on a little paper silver tray, and they're toasted. So that tray gets thrown away. It does not get washed. So there's no grease really produced by the bacon itself. In terms of the cream, they've expanded to almond. There is oatmeal and regular. So I'm not sure how much grease those other milks have. And this is really one of the changes. The menu obviously does change. And it has to change, but the coffee is the coffee, and it's pretty much, yeah, and the food changes somewhat, but still the bagels are there. They're not producing grease. They come pre-cooked to a great extent. And a lot of them actually come frozen, so they put them in the oven to heat them up. So they're not really cooking, but yes, there are changes, menu changes as well.
So if I heard both of you correctly, so now with this, the Board of Health's Food Protection Regulations, Chapter 10, section listed there, it sounds like they're not expanding a food service facility. It sounds like you're reconfiguring. The other question I have for Ms. Brusso, it also says in here that, so we know that there's no external grease interceptor, but it says that they need to submit a written determination from the Auburn Sewer Commissioner as to whether an external grease interceptor will be required. Do we have that?
No, I did meet with him last week. He was going on a vacation, so he verbally did say that he was in agreement that we should have an external grease trap, but I don't have anything in writing from him. This request did come to our office. As far as I'm aware, this was not submitted to the sewer department directly. And I do want to just clarify, in our regulation, it does say existing facilities which will be renovated to include or expand for the food service facilities. So they are doing a substantial renovation.
Yeah.
And if I may, I believe that the designer has submitted plans. Obviously, the board could take that under consideration for the sewer superintendent to review upon his return.
And when is he coming back, do you think?
I'm not sure if it was sometime this week or by the.
So, yeah, it's just like a short, like a
Sure, yeah.
typical summer vacation.
Yes.
Gotcha.
You have the option to continue for more information.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion regarding the request for the waiver for the grease tank to be external or internal, to be continued to our next meeting so that we can get information back from the sewer director reviewing new plans that just came in.
I'll second that. And is there a?
Very much.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otterson, aye. So it'll be continued until the sewer commission opines, and then it'll be taken up by this, okay? And if they require it, then, I mean,
Yes, of course.
that is your
Yeah, you
option.
need to get some feedback from sewer department, yeah. But thank you. Jordan has been great at having said that, very thorough, very professional, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you very
you.
much.
I would now entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman. Eric Otterson, aye. Hearing is now closed. All right.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You as well.
Last, we have a bunch of hearings now scheduled. I'm going to take these, I guess we're going to take them all separately, unfortunately. There's same business, multiple violations. So I will entertain a motion to open up a hearing for the tobacco non-payment hearing for the second violation of In-Style Galaxy Newsstand, 385 Southbridge Street. Is there,
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor for opening the hearing signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. All right, hearing is now open. So before the board, if we remember from last week, The owner of this InStyle Galaxy at 385 Southbridge Street that was his second violation, and he was issued a responsible finding by the board under protest, in that he also this hearing is to determine whether or not if he plans to pay that violation. Is the owner, is Mr. Harry Harjani present? Not seeing him in the audience, not seeing him remotely. I find that I would entertain a motion that he still remains responsible for this. He's not here to offer any testimony. Yeah. So moved, okay. And is there a second?
A second?
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Rick Addison, aye. Right. Entertain a motion to now close the hearing for the second violation. All those in favor of, is there a motion?
So moved.
And second?
Aye.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Addison, aye. Now, and I will now entertain a motion for the same store, InStyle Galaxy Newsstand, 385 Southbridge Street, for a hearing for a third violation.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Addison, aye. Hearing is now open. So this is a owners to request an appeal for a third violation of an act to modernize the tobacco control based on 105 CMR 665, a fine of $5,000 and a 30 consecutive business day tobacco permit suspension. My question that I had on this one is he had until June 4th to request a hearing. The email to request a hearing was dated on 6/18. And so he's way past the deadline. Why was this one before the board? If he missed the deadline by that much?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So he submitted his request on, I believe, June 22nd. We're passing out these summaries and recommendations to you. We're on to the agenda item E for the tobacco control third violation. So this was a courtesy that the establishment owner had expressed during the first meeting, that there was concerns with timeliness to the mail and receiving his certified options. So as a courtesy, the health director and myself spoke with the tobacco control director and were in agreement that granting the appeal hearing as a courtesy was something that we could and had the authority to do.
Okay, so it was done as a courtesy?
As a courtesy.
Okay, thank you. Again, gentleman wasn't here a minute ago, however, in case he is here again, is Mr. Harry Hajani present? I do not see him remotely. There is no one here. There is no one in the waiting room. So he did request this hearing. Based upon that, I would entertain a motion to uphold the findings of the order and the retailer to pay $5,000 and issue a 30-day suspension. With, now, I don't know, when would the date be?
So if I could offer, we do have the Tobacco Alliance Administrator here. If we could have her input as to when these dates would be identified, we would rely on them to assist with this.
Okay. And maybe you can just state your name, your title, and when you think these dates would be applicable.
Joan Hamlet, Director of the Boards of Health Tobacco Control Alliance, and I'm also a tobacco control agent for the town of Auburn. What we would recommend, usually for a 30-day, we start on the first of the month to keep it simple, so we would recommend a September 1st through September 30th date. It's toward the end of the month. We still have to give a hearing outcome notice and written notice for them, and to prepare for a 30-day permit suspension, they would need to, figure out legally where they can move their product and get their product out of the store. So we would recommend a September 1st through September 30th date.
All right. So then I will, keeping with my original motion, so entertain a motion for to uphold the findings of the order in the retailer to pay $5,000 fine, 30-day suspension, those dates to be September 1st through September 30th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin?
Aye.
Kara Westerman?
Aye.
Eric Artisan? Aye. All right. I would now entertain a motion to close the hearing for the third violation.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second?
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Eric Artisan? Aye. Carolyn Griffin?
Aye.
Kara Westerman?
Aye.
I will now entertain a motion for the same business. Open a hearing to hear evidence regarding the fourth violation for this business. And so entertain that motion, open the hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second? And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin?
Aye.
Kara Westerman?
Aye.
Eric Artisan? Aye. So before us is a owner's request for another hearing for permit revocation review. The way I understand it is we have a non-payment of a second violation that he hasn't paid. We have a third violation where we have now he has to pay, and that's an additional $5,000? Or this is an additional?
Yeah, for this violation, it's completely separate. So he requested an appeal hearing first. We would only have a revocation, go on to the revocation portion of the hearing if you find him responsible for this fourth violation. So for this fourth violation, it's another $5,000 fine. But because at the fourth, it's a revocation hearing, but he requested an appeal before the revocation hearing, so it's a combined. So your options are to find him responsible for the $5,000, and you can either give him another 30-day suspension and a chance and continue the revocation without a finding, as long as there's no other violation in 36 months, or you can move right into not give that one more last chance, and you can go right into a permanent permit revocation for excessive noncompliance.
I'm sorry, just to be clear, so it's a two-part. So if the board is going to find the retailer responsible for that fourth violation, then you would make the determination on that. And then your options are for the $5,000 that comes with the fine comes with that violation, and either the 30 days, or if you are choosing a tobacco permit revocation. So he doesn't keep his tobacco permit. So those are the options, correct, Joan?
Correct.
And revocation is permanent.
Is permanent. And it doesn't stop him from annually asking the board to reconsider, but it's considered permanent.
I have an issue with the fact that he's requested this, and you, in the spirit of cooperation, allowed this, and he's not here.
So if I could speak to that, so we have obviously 3 separate hearings here that we wanted to provide this process and provide to the board all the information that you are that you need in order to make an informed decision. So we did do that. We have notified Mr. Harjani, the business owner, properly. We've done certified and regular mail. We have proof of that. And obviously this meeting was set several weeks ago. Mr. Harjani did reach out over this past weekend, asking for us to
45-day stay.
45-day stay, and I'm sure Ms. Hamlet can speak to that, that request. We have sent that to town council. Town council advised that we can move forward with these hearings, which is why they are before you. So Mr. Harjani has been notified that we were moving forward with this meeting tonight and these hearings.
Now, just a question on the process, because I know that was in dispute. There was disputes about the first evening that he had said that there's no evidence in it, but we've solved that. During that first hearing, he also made allegations that he was being targeted or picked on. And at that time, we determined that you had done every business that day, and we got him to agree that that was not the case, that he was singled out. Just walk me through exactly how these third and fourth now, I understand the first and second, that's why he was here the first time, and we told you, but now the third and the fourth. Walk me through what made you do the third and fourth, and then your usual and customary practices with these types of investigations.
Okay. So the third violation occurred because his second violation, he had a permit suspension. For the second violation, there's only a hearing if the retailer wants one. So if the retailer is willing to pay the fine and move forward with the permit suspension, there's no hearing. He did not notify, we did not have, apparently he sent an email that the board was not aware of, requesting a hearing. So when we showed up on May 1st for his permit suspension, which a couple other retailers had them, we inspected his store, and he still had products out for sale, and the clerk called him on the phone. Jody called me on the phone, who conducted the inspection, and he said his claim was that he had requested a hearing, and that it was his understanding it's lifted until somebody notifies him of the hearing date, which is actually the process. That the day before, we had contacted the office, and they didn't have knowledge of him asking it. When he got his manager on the phone, and they emailed us right away while Jody was still in the store, forwarded it, and it was sent to Jordan and CC'd and everything. And we forwarded it to Jordan and Darlene, and they confirmed, okay, we missed this, so we will give you a hearing. So while we were in the store, we said, okay, no, you don't have to do anything. You're going to get your hearing. You don't have to do anything till the hearing. And then that's what happened. In the meantime, Jody was present in the store, and on the shelves, and it was not a retail inspection when we checked everything. Right out on the shelves was non-compliant products that conflict and were a violation of the state law. So while I was on the phone, Jody said, this is what I found in the store, and I explained to him and his business manager that these are violations. These are products that you're not allowed to have. We have educational sheets that we give you the packet every year, went over it with you. We had your staff sign for them. We had inspected your store previously, and these products weren't here, but these products are flavored and they're illegal. We're going to have to move forward. We were here because we thought we were here for a permit suspension.
So it
Found
was
you in non-compliance.
Yeah, so it would have,
That's the third one?
So that was the third violation on May 1st. We were there for a permit suspension. Yeah. And then for the fourth violation, we were doing a re-inspection. Anybody who's had a violation of the state law has to be re-inspected by the end of the fiscal year. So on June 12th, which was, almost six and a half weeks later.
If you could come up here.
yeah. And can I ask you something? So when you said he had the flavored products on the shelf, if he had never had any violations or anything, and you just walked in there doing inspection and seeing that, it would have been a violation regardless. Okay, I just want to make sure.
These are the pictures of what was found, color pictures, and we brought a packet for everybody. These are the products that are.
That was from June 12th. When
this
myself,
one's from-
Jordan, and Tim accompanied.
I'm sorry, this is the one from the third.
So the fourth one was during you went back
For the fourth one.
to check again, and this fourth one was found.
Correct.
If I may, through the chair, this was following our June 1st Board of Health hearing where we did find him responsible. We set the 7-day suspension.
Yes.
This was the initial start of that 7-day suspension where we go there, the products were still available and there were products in violation, as seen in this picture.
So these are when Jody went there for the permit suspension.
Could you go
We have to go to the microphone, please.
When Jody went to the permit suspension inspection, this is what she could visibly see from without researching, looking, just as, on the other side of the counter. These were the products. We did not search the store further because there's enough here, there's several violations here to constitute a state violation, so, and she wasn't there for a whole store check. So we got on the phone and said, okay, so we want to let you know, these need to be removed, they need to be gone. I spoke to him directly. It does constitute another violation. We don't have the choice to not move forward with the violation. And, we went over everything at great length. It was a lengthy conversation that we had with the four of us on the phone. We had contacted Darlene and Jordan immediately after, went over everything that had happened, moved forward with the violation.
Again, timelines with me of it. So the second violation, I understand that, like he requested, he was aware of this, of the 2 days suspension at that time, correct?
7 days.
That's right, 7 days, because we had issued that at that meeting, and he was present here for that.
At June 1st meeting.
June 1st meeting. So he was aware that he was supposed to be, of the dates of the suspension. During the time of that suspension order, you visited the store and found him in non-compliance.
So on June 12th, I was completing the permit suspension, and Jordan and Tim came with me for that. And when I walked into the store, I immediately saw a flavored product on the shelf. Underneath the counter, that was the Backwoods White. Underneath the counter, because we need to check to make sure that there's no product within the service area. And so underneath the counter, there were an open carton of Newport non-menthol cigarettes and a carton of Newport non-menthol that was sealed. And there were also sleeves of nicotine pouches. So the humidor was also not covered. That needs to be obscured from public view. So that was not covered. And then in the back storage area, we found a bag of the flavored hemp wraps from the previous violation that were just in the back storage area. And then the boxes of the products were accessible to a clerk. So a clerk could have just, not saying that they would, but they were accessible to a clerk. They weren't sealed or anything.
So he was at, what were the dates of the suspension?
It was a 7-day, so the permit suspension was starting on June 12th.
June 12th. And then you arrived at the store when?
On June 12th.
You went on June 12th. Okay, so you were there, excuse me. So you were there on June 12th. He was aware of the suspension on June 12th. And you went there to make sure that he was in compliance with that.
Yeah.
He was not. And then that promulgated the third violation.
That was the 4th.
That's the fourth.
That's the fourth.
He was in partial compliance because stuff was boxed in the back and then the stuff was stuffed under the counter, but nothing, all the instructions were given to him that no tobacco product could be in the service area and it had to be in secured boxes, in either locked or secured boxes so staff wouldn't have access to it. So when Jody and Jordan and Darlene got there, they were working with him to, he was, the store, Jody said it was the store manager, said he was willing to remove the product. So they ended up becoming in compliance. They were in partial compliance, and then they became in compliance because they removed all the products from the store. And the following Tuesday, it was checked by a secret shopper, and adult secret shopper, and they weren't selling. So we believe, we only checked that one Tuesday, we believe they complied with the permit suspension. They just didn't pay their $2,000 fine. That's what led to the the non-payment hearing. But then we had to write the fourth violation because at a permit suspension inspection, we found all the flavored products because the law says they can't be on your premises. They have to be completely removed. If they're found anywhere in a floorboard, a locked cabinet door, a closet, they're presumed for sale if they're on the premises of the building. So that's what constituted the fourth violation.
I guess what I'm getting at, I want to make sure that we're not in like a double jeopardy type of situation here where, and again, he's not here, but if, you know, we've given, so the second violation, that was for a 7-day suspension. Okay. So that 7-day suspension was when again? Let me get these dates down.
So, the chair, just to clarify, so that second violation occurred on March 28th. The order letter was sent out on April 8th, and the original suspension date was for May 1st. So that is automatically determined in their enforcement letters, and they mailed that out on April 8th.
Okay. So then his permit was suspended from May 1st to May 7th.
Initially.
Okay. But so that was because that was so second violation was the fine and the suspension.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the third violation. So I guess so the second violation, did you go to the store during that time period to make sure that they were in compliance on those 7 days?
So the May 1st was the day one of the permit suspension, but this is where there was some confusion because I guess he had requested to have a hearing. And so I showed up unaware of that request, and that's when I saw the flavored products on the shelf.
We checked with your office, and he hadn't, to everybody's knowledge, he hadn't requested, but there was an email, and he sent us the email while we were on the phone with him. We contacted Jordan and Darlene, and they did find the request. He did send it in a timely manner. So if we had known that, we never would have discovered these products. We went there because it was unknown to us that he requested a hearing in a timely manner. And we found him in noncompliance for another reason. But Chris is here, and he can speak to that, why it wouldn't be double jeopardy.
I guess I'm confused of like the dates. There was a meeting, there wasn't a meeting, something got missed. I want to make sure that we're not.
So
It is,
So the April 8th order, if you look at the packets where they specify the Boards of Health Tobacco Control Alliance, the April 8th order it's 2 letters in one. So the second letter specifies the all predetermined 7-day suspension. Because that appeal fell through the radar and was not known to us or to the Leominster Tobacco agents, they went to fulfill that 7-day suspension without knowing of this appeal. So in that appeal, or in that initial site visit to start their suspension, they found a flavor violation.
And yeah, and I get it. And he's saying, well, that wouldn't have happened if you hadn't come, but it's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods, making noise. I mean, it's still a violation.
so then we honored his request and put him on for an appeal.
Yes.
And then we had the meeting scheduled June 1st, which we went through. So it is confusing, and I can appreciate the board asking these questions, because quite honestly, it's back-to-back violations within over like the past 3 months. And while they're there to check for to make sure the 7-day suspension is happening, they're finding other products, and it's going on like that. So if it is difficult to follow, but that's why we wanted to have this as a public process, separate hearings. And if the board has any concerns at all that they want to give the retailer another chance, I mean, that is why we're here to discuss this with the Tobacco Alliance, to identify what they do and how we move forward. I do wish the retailer was here, because this is his chance to provide his input on what's happened.
And, I mean, you know, the thing here about that there was a notice and then like physically couldn't, a parent drafting on June 12th. But that is in the board's latest correspondence, but those dates really are correct. I mean, right? Yeah, it's.
So that June 12th
was that day.
Was that fourth
Yeah.
violation,
Yeah.
but it was the suspension honoring the 7-day suspension from the
Yeah.
second.
It's just, yeah, like how, I got you.
He had 6 weeks to remove his illegal products from the store and didn't prior to, and he knew we were coming for that permit suspension. He had advance notice that we gave him a courtesy call, we told him we were coming, we gave him instructions of what he needed to do for that.
Oh, so it
that
really wasn't a surprise that.
Yeah, so there's a history here of just not complying with laws that he's been educated on. And what we do have for the board is 3 points of education just in the past year prior to these violations, where he signed, his staff signed, we hand-delivered it's usually 14 to 18 pages a year, our annual package. We hand-delivered them, and somebody from the store signs that they received them. So we have 3 in the last, 2 in 2025, and 1 in 2026 for FY '26, prior to these violations. So we've done extensive education with every retailer in Auburn, and I've been doing this for 33 years, and I have 46 communities, over 500 retailers. We have never seen anything like this. This is a first for us to have each re-inspection, we're finding a new violation, or each reason we're there legitimately for, it's not targeting. This happened, we have to go. Now another violation happened, we have to go. There's a permit suspension, we have to go.
Help me understand, just because I want to make sure I understand the process. So those packets that you have signed off by his staff acknowledges the fact that you gave them the educational resources to rectify the situation, correct?
Yes, I did not
Thank you.
provide the whole entire packet. I provided the education where he was in violation. And there's 3 sheets, 3 different times of the year.
So where I'm getting hung up on this is he did request a hearing. How did we miss this email that he requested a hearing?
So unfortunately, we did miss that request that he sent. I have to take responsibility of it. I think the email went to the tobacco control, it went to myself, and we missed that first request. When it was discovered, we said, okay, we need to set this retailer up for the request that they're asking for, to appeal it. And so we went through that proper process, and that is the meeting that we set for June. At that last meeting, June 1st, we did do that appeal. I think you do recall Mr. Harjani had, at that time, he brought in a similar request, an omnibus request, stating that he felt that his store was targeted for this type of action. He questioned the inspection of it being valid. He questioned, were there valid inspectors, and was the product and the sale valid? So he had many concerns that you heard at that meeting.
So although the email was missed, he still had the opportunity, you reached out and he still had the opportunity that he attended that meeting.
Right, so
he would.
Right, so for the June meeting, that was his appeal. So it was missed on an email, however, it was delayed, but he did get the appeal hearing.
He received his due process.
We just dealt with the third violation this evening, correct?
I believe you've closed that hearing, yes.
So the third violation and the fourth violation, he hasn't had a hearing for.
He requested an appeal hearing on the 3rd, and for the 4th, it's an automatic revocation hearing, but he exercised his right to ask for an appeal first, so that's why it's a dual hearing, because on the 4th violation, the state law requires the board to review them to, for permit revocation. Doesn't mean you have to, but it's just required to hold that hearing. So when he got the notice that there was that there'd be a revocation hearing, he exercised his right and asked for an appeal. But he did ask for an appeal. It's my understanding that he had communication with your office that by phone and email he could be here, and then late Sunday night, your agents found an email from him that they opened Monday morning asking for a 45 omnibus stay of appeals. Doesn't apply. It's not the procedure. It doesn't apply. Chris reviewed a copy of that letter. I reviewed it. Everybody reviewed it. And it was left up to your office if you wanted to, delay this. We recommended not delaying it because he requested the hearing. He confirmed he could be here. And then in the 9th hour was, making demands for things that don't apply to the hearing process and looking for evidence that doesn't exist, and whatnot.
And was that for the third violation?
No, this was just this past Monday that he sent that for the,
What you had just said, when he was here, present, that the last time that we met with him, and he was asking for the
that was on the
evidence,
second violation.
That was for the second violation.
He did not ask for, he asked for an appeal on the 3rd. He asked for an appeal on the 3rd 2 weeks late. And that was granted for tonight. He didn't show, and you closed it and found him responsible. And now for the 4th, he also asked for an appeal, and he's still not here.
So this evening, we took up a third violation. What was the date of that third violation?
May 1st.
Okay. He had requested that he wanted he requested at a hearing so that he would not be on suspension from May 1 to May 7, correct?
That was
No, that was his first 30 day. He would have been on suspension for July 1st to July 30th. But he requested the 3rd and the 4th. He requested the 3rd one late and the 4th one on time.
So we honored.
He combined them into this meeting.
But he didn't request the third one late because we did find.
the third violation.
I'm sorry if I really want to make sure that we're getting this correct for him. But he was not late on requesting that. He did request it. We didn't see it.
No, that was his second violation. That was his second violation for the youth sale that you had the previous meeting.
Okay.
The third violation, he requested 2 weeks late, and then also put a request for the 4th, and your office decided to move forward and let him be heard on both.
I'm under the impression that for the third violation, he did meet it on time. That was the one, and I just asked this question. That was the one that he sent in, because we talk about it here. It says the holiday was marked, it was done late, all this other stuff, when in fact we found it and it was not late.
That was for the second violation of March, his youth sale on March 28th, 2026. That was for your hearing that he was granted. This occurred after that. This violation was in process. It was not discussed at your last meeting. That's why he asked for an appeal, and he did ask for it two weeks late, and it's up to the discretion of your office and your board if you're going to allow him to have that appeal. And they told us, we were informed that there was going to be a third and a fourth.
So the appeal is for today for number 3 and 4?
Yes. This has never come before this board yet.
And he failed to show for number 3 and number 4?
The hearing he requested.
You were going to explain to us why it's not double jeopardy, the issue of finding the flavored tobacco on the day that she showed up.
Yeah, absolutely. So upon a violation, a reinspection, as Joan said, is required. And even if someone requests an appeal, they still need to comply with the law. So it doesn't freeze everything.
Yes.
So they're still responsible for removing the product.
Mm-hmm.
So my understanding is for the second violation, sale to youth in March, he had a full hearing on that. And you determined in a meeting, I think I was here, that he was responsible. Now, tonight, it's just the third and fourth violations before you. So those are the ones we're hearing tonight. But it is not double jeopardy.
He should have been following that regardless of anything.
Yes, it does not suspend, it does not allow him to violate the law. He doesn't have some sort of protection in that regard.
And would double jeopardy be you charged them for the same incident twice? Is that what double jeopardy is?
Double jeopardy is you can't hold them responsible for something that they were found not liable for.
Right, so it doesn't apply in the third and fourth violation.
But I understand the question, what does he get a pass if he requests a hearing? Does it somehow insulate someone from further inspections? It does not. Inspections can continue after that.
So has he served a 30-day suspension yet?
No, because he asked for an appeal.
So he hasn't served the 30-day, and he hasn't paid the $5,000.
And you already found him responsible for it to be reissued.
Tonight.
For the third one, we haven't.
So he has a 30-day that he has to serve now. Okay. And now we're on, so that hearing was since closed. So right now, tonight, we voted that he has a $5,000 fine and then now a 30-day suspension. And that's okay. So now for the fourth violation this evening before us is another $5,000 and 30-day or complete revocation.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm still not able to wrap my head around this, and I don't want to hold this up all night. This is messy. I'm sorry.
Sure, if I may.
On all accounts.
Here's the thing, the whole thing is confusing because of the way that this has happened, because these back-to-back violations have occurred, and the retailer has asked for appeals legitimately, and we want to give him his due process. If the board wants to continue it, they can continue this last one for reviewing the information, making sure that you are comfortable knowing what the facts are. Obviously, we want anybody that asks for an appeal to have their due process, to come to give their testimony, and for the board to be able to ask questions. We are confident that Mr. Harjani was informed of this meeting. He was aware of it. We notified him. We went through all the steps, the proper process. And unfortunately, he's not here. But certainly, we don't want to have the board continue. If there's any questions at all, anything that we can do to try to help you with this, we want to do that. We have reached out to town council. Town council actually spoke with Jordan today, and they did take a look at the appeal that came in late Sunday night. We saw it Monday morning, and they said that we could move forward. However, if there's questions that you have further for town council, or we want to review this internally, I have no problem doing that, and Jordan and I can get any information that you need. We can break it down. We can work with Joan and her team. Nobody wants to take any severe action on somebody with such an important permit. We never want to take a permit away from somebody but you have to also look at like the whole picture and what's happening here. We want somebody to comply. That's ultimately what we want. So can we give them education? Can we give them chances? Can we work with them? We want to do all of that.
This is considered egregious. This is not common.
Yeah.
We have had other communities that have gotten to the permit revocation. We have never had anybody in this short period of a time keep accumulating this much violation. So this is a egregious non-compliance with no apparent efforts of the retailer to make any corrective steps to, when, once he's violated, been told what he needs to do. It's almost like, how did we get to another inspection and you still have the stuff in your store when all the education has been provided? So
on the 7-day suspension after the second hearing, right? He was, when you visited him, that was the one that the stuff was out in the open. You had seen it. He was supposed to be suspended for 7 days.
it was under the, Jody, it was,
Regardless where it was present.
yeah.
So
It wasn't secured properly.
he was supposed to be suspended for 7 days. You showed up there during that time period, you saw the illegal material. That fired off the third violation. He requested a hearing to stop for a hearing for the third violation, which occurred on May 1st. So and this is where and this is the previous hearing, I wish I had known the information that we actually did in fact have proper dates on this, that he requested this hearing. I'm sorry, this is just too messy. I entertain a motion that we take no action on the fourth violation. Is there, yeah, I would entertain a motion that we take no violation, no action on the fourth violation.
Can I ask one more question to Darlene or Jordan? Regarding all his requests here, is that something that, I know the omnibus is not an issue here, but he was talking about all the emails and logs and things like that.
This was reviewed with legal?
So it was sent to our tobacco control. So Joan and her team reviewed that request. And we also sent it to town council. Again, if there is more clarification that you need, obviously, we want to make sure that you have all your questions answered about what is in his request.
Yeah. No, I was just kind of wondering. Okay.
Joan, do you have input on that request?
I
Because
do, a
you
little
provided
bit.
advisement on it.
A little bit, because obviously I'm your agent, I'm here to advise you. We have Chris with technical assistance. Your town council is not here, but Chris can speak to technical assistance of the process. This is a state violation recorded in the state database. We have to report back to the state if the board finds them responsible or not responsible. And a not responsible finding is because the board believes the evidence doesn't support the violation. So I would highly recommend continuing the hearing to be presented. Maybe Mr. Hajani could make it the next hearing. And then whatever, it just seems like we keep going back to the second violation and there's confusion. So maybe we could come up with a chart, because the second violation was where we lost the email, and you keep looping it into the third violation. And the third violation is where he didn't request it on time, and after 2 weeks, he was given a courtesy to still be allowed to be heard. Where if he didn't ask for it, Jordan could have said, I'm sorry, Darlene could have said, we didn't request it, we're not going to allow you to be heard, you're responsible for it, and then we'd be into a non-payment hearing with him. As a courtesy, we could have, when we show up at a retailer and they're selling tobacco or they didn't secure it properly, there's a confiscation process, there's another fining. As a courtesy to them, we allowed them to fix it while we were there and remove the product, so we didn't have to go through that enforcement process. This is overwhelming for us too. So if we're not presenting it clear enough, because to say no action, somebody has to report to the state, because we got to go back in that database and that case needs to be closed, and that's not an option to just take no action. So I wouldn't know how to advise forward.
Perhaps, if I may suggest, if the issue is the fourth violation, it sounds like it is because you've already done a determination on the third, perhaps continue your determination of the fourth violation as opposed to no action, and obtain the additional materials you were suggesting, if I'm capturing the intent of what you were seeking.
And we still have to do a reinspection. So what are we going to do if we go, this triggers a reinspection that we have not done? We have to do a reinspection for the third violation and a reinspection for the fourth violation. So now we could end up with a fifth and a sixth violation situation if he still has those products in the store, or if we find something else in his store. And again, when you get to the point where there's 4 violations, it's excessive noncompliance. But, and our recommendation would be, it was in a store, he didn't do what he was instructed to do, what he was supposed to do. Had planned to a responsible finding 5,000, and it's up to the board, but we always recommend 30 days, another 30-day suspension, and continue the revocation without a finding pending that there's not another violation in the 36th month. But you could also do that. Can they continue instead of saying no action, we're going to continue this violation without a finding pending that there's not another one. And then if there's a 5th violation, it reopens this one.
So, the email that he sent requesting a hearing, was it actually sent on time?
There were 2, though.
For the second violation, yes. And for the fourth violation, the omnibus hearing came in on June 18th for both the third and the fourth violation in one appeal request. It technically passed the third violation, but it was in compliance with the fourth violation appeal period.
How, I'm thinking that maybe, like you said, a continuance without finding, and maybe have a nice timeline.
Absolutely.
And that, and give Mr. Hajani the same timeline, and if he's in, agreement with that timeline and everything, we are, and everything still stays the same in terms of the violations, which I kind of expect it will, obviously, then I think it would kind of satisfy the need for more clarification, and that we did give Mr. Hajani quite a bit of leeway to.
So he's held for the first 3, and then the 4th would be a continuance for him to be here in person. We're giving him the opportunity to be here in person for the 4th.
We can get, I would assume that he would come here in person. I think I need a better timeline. I'm sorry. I'm too confused about all these violations.
You can continue the hearing and we can pick it up at the next.
Continue it.
That's what my recommendation, but I facilitated a motion, but it was not moved.
So
Does any board member have
So
another motion?
So moved.
Well, if you,
We can just repeat it.
so, yeah, well, that motion that I was going to facilitate was that we take no action.
Oh.
That we can, so.
I was for the continuance.
So if someone has another motion, I will hear that motion.
I move for the continuance of the 4th hearing to allow us to get a more complete timeline and offer that same information to Mr. Hajani before we make our final ruling.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. Right. Now I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. Hearing is now closed. Moving on with the agenda, the Regional 2 Health Emergency Preparedness Coalition.
Thank you. So this is our yearly our yearly request from the board to identify myself, Jordan, and Tim as the representatives to attend the Region 2 Public Health Coalition for the Auburn Board of Health. And if we can get your support on that, it would be a motion to allow us to continue as the Auburn representatives.
I would entertain a motion for Darlene and Jordan to continue on that, and Tim to continue on that preparedness coalition.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Gottison, aye.
Thank you.
So looking at director's updates here, the fee schedule, we've had such busy agendas, we're not able to get much on that.
Sure, yep.
Tobacco update, the permit renewal schedule.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let the board know that June was our renewal period. So we actually have renewed all of our retailers with tobacco permits.
Okay. Solid waste and recycling, there's a new hauler in town, Republic Services.
Yeah, so New Hauler Republic Services started on July 1st, and you may see some of those notifications go out, and we're working with them closely for their drivers to learn the routes and making sure that services is appropriate.
Does that replace,
Was it Casella?
Previously, it was Casella.
okay.
And then the final thing, I just wanted to let you know, so we've had a pretty busy last couple of months. We had the townwide cleanup day is always in May, and then we had our household hazardous waste day was the beginning of June. So both of those months were packed with events. All of our staff have been attending all of these events. These happen on weekends. They've done a bang-up job. I'm so proud of them. We also have our solid waste and recycling coordinator, Colleen, assisting as well. And we had a huge showing of CERT members, Community Emergency Response Team members, led by Kathy Stone. And we couldn't have done it so well without everybody that helped out. So police, fire, CERT were a huge help in all of these. So I just wanted to recognize them and let the board know that we do have so much support to the health department.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Right. Any other updates, no Maven stuff at all?
No, I don't think so. We will bring the monthly report to the next meeting.
Excellent. Okay. Any board members have anything?
Nope.
No? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And is there a second?
A second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Carolyn Griffin.
Aye.
Kara Westerman.
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. Thank you all very much.